I came across your work for the first time. Shockingly, it's astonishing to me I didn't come across you earlier because I put a tweet online, not sure what the noun is for something like that on X at this point, asking about remedies related to tennis elbow specifically. And it was within the context of rock climbing. And someone put up a video from YouTube by Emil Abrahamson, I'm probably pronouncing that incorrectly, who is a high-level climber, great YouTube creator and teacher, who put up a video called something like doing hangboard training twice a day for 30 days. And that is where he referenced a study of yours, or it may have been a review, I'm not sure exactly, but minimizing injury and maximizing return to play, lessons from engineered ligaments. And I just want to give people the punchline to this because, and then I'll shut up and let the expert talk. He is a high-level climber. He climbs V15s, bouldering. He is incredibly good. And after 30 days of doing 10 minutes a day, roughly, of hangboard, not even full hangs, let's just say 70% body weight, so his feet are on the floor, kind of like a nice stretch, for 10 seconds on, 50 seconds off. So 100 seconds of tension per session. He, I think, added 60% weight to his maximum hangs. So this is weight attached around the waist. He went from something like a 0.5 second one-handed hang on a tiny little ledge, I'm not using technical climbing language here, to 13 seconds, and so on and so forth. And it just blew his mind completely. So let's just start with asking, what is happening here? What are the adaptations that are allowing something like that to happen? And then we'll kick off from there.
It's a great place to start because we think it actually shows something fundamental about strength. Because what we do is, I'm in our strength physiology facility here, and we normally think of strength as, we're going to lift weights. We're going to do something really, really heavy. And because that's going to make us stronger, we know that when we lift heavy weights, we get stronger. And the reality is that there are especially certain athletes like climbers, where they're doing all kinds of heavy lifts. They're doing all kinds of heavy work. They're doing all kinds of really dynamic moves. And what breaks down is they break down in their finger tendons and they break down in the little pulleys within the tendons. And we had come to this because for years I had been working on how to make muscles bigger and stronger. And I always said, okay, bigger and stronger, because the definition in my old textbooks would say that the strength of a muscle is related to the cross-sectional area. It's proportional to the cross-sectional area of the muscle. And so I was like, okay, to get stronger, you need to be bigger. So I actually was really fortunate to be part of the team where we discovered the small molecule in our cells that actually allows our cells to get bigger when we do resistance exercise.
What is the name of that? Just in brief.
So it's mTOR.
Yep.
So it's mTOR complex 1. It's the mechanistic target of rapamycin. So I'd been doing this. I had a laboratory. My first laboratory was in Scotland, and I was invited down by the English Institute of Sport to come to their cycling center. And they were like, okay, this is great. We have these incredible athletes who are winning all kinds of gold medals, and we want them to get stronger. And so I go in there with my spiel about bigger muscles and all of this. And they're like, yeah, but we got to carry that muscle mass. And I've got 5 years of data that shows me I'm getting these athletes stronger without making them any bigger. And in many cases, making them smaller. And I'm like, oh, well, so much for all the science that I've been doing for a long time. But then I had to figure out, okay, so how is this working? Or how are they getting people who are stronger without them getting bigger? And so what it came down to is if we have the little motors in our muscles that are going to produce the force, what we then have to do is we have to transmit that force. And that force has to be transmitted from our muscle where we're producing it to our bone where the movement is going to occur. And that's going to go through tendons, it's going to go through connective tissue, it's going to go through all of these proteins that we call colloquially force transfer proteins. And so that was the first thing that we were thinking of. And then what we were doing is we would make these little engineered ligaments. And so the goal at the beginning is, hey, I'm going to make ligaments. You're going to rupture your ACL. You're going to send me like a sample that we'll take in the doctor's office. I'm going to isolate the cells. I'm going to make you an ACL in the dish in my laboratory. I'm going to send it back to you so that you don't have to take your hamstring or the middle third of your patella and we can replace that ruptured ACL. That's the idea. But we have to get them stronger. So we started looking at, okay, we know exercise makes these tendons stronger, but what about the exercise? And what we found is it didn't matter whether we stretched them 20% or 5% or 2%, the signals to get bigger and stronger were the same. But then we started doing for different time lanes, and the signal would go up and then it would go away really quick. And so the way that I explain it now is that your tendon, ligament, your bone, all of your connective tissue cells are a lot like my 17-year-old daughter. She's going to listen to me for maybe 5 minutes, maybe 10 minutes, and then she's going to just tune me out. So I need to get all the information in that 5 to 10 minutes. So if you're going to go and you're going to climb, for example, like Emil would do all the time, he's going to spend 3, 4, 5 hours at the wall doing different things. The tendons stopped getting the signal to adapt at 10 minutes. Everything on top of that was just wear and tear that could, slightly cause problems. And so what that meant to us is that there's this minimal effective dose. So if I give you 10 minutes of loading that is optimized for those connective tissues, whether it's tendon, ligament, cartilage, or bone, I can get you to get all of the signal from that whole exercise bout in 10 minutes. And so that was the first part. The second part was, how long does it take before I can get more signal to go through that system? Think of it like your toilet. I flush my toilet, it's going to flush. But if, when my daughter was younger, she would, oh, that was fun. Let me do that again. It wouldn't flush for a while. She needed to let the bowl refill, let the tank refill so that I could flush it. So that's called the refractory period. How long do I have to wait before that next session? And what we found is about 8 hours, 6 to 8 hours later. And amazingly, that was almost exactly the same thing that other researchers had found for bone. That as little as few as 40 stimuli with 8 hours of rest was maximal for bone. We found that 10 minutes of activity, whether you did walking or running or just holds, 10 minutes worth, so 10 seconds on, 50 seconds off, 100 seconds total, over that 10 minutes, that's all the signal your cells need. You wait 8 hours, you could do it again. And so Emil's brother had lots of injuries. So he did it twice a day. His hands are healthy. Now he can climb. Emil, because he's a huge, strong boulderer who does these dynamic loads, he had a really big effect of doing those isometric holds because he was getting all of the stimulus to make the muscle stronger, the brain power to stimulate the right muscles to have him to be able to contract that. What he was missing was he was getting too much wear and tear on the tendons, on the force transfer stuff. So when we just got him to do those 10-minute sessions, his force transfer capacity went way up, and now his grip strength went way up. And one of the best videos that he has is he becomes a competitor in the world's strongest grip competition.
Oh, it's an amazing video. It's so good.
And so these guys are twice his size, and he's grabbing all these things about the same as the people who are twice his size. It's awesome because Emil's smaller than me. He's a great guy. But it's like, okay, so you're getting to the point where you have some of the strongest grip in the world, and all you're doing is these little things. You're doing your dynamic climbing, and you're combining that with these isometric holds. And so what we're improving is that ability to transmit the force between the muscle that's making it and the bone that's trying to help us do the movement.